We are breaking down some Dynasty fantasy football teams. What is going on, everyone? It is Sunday morning around 11:15 Eastern here, and we're going to tackle some Dynasty fantasy football rosters of yours, and we're going to start as we usually do with the trade questions. So let me just sort by these trade questions and super messages and start sits because we like to do those a little bit first, and then get into the actual team reviews later. Let me just move us out of the way here. So let's kick things off. Of course, as you guys can see linked up in the chat, if you guys do want to get your team covered, your trade question covered live, you can definitely submit those using that link. It's also linked in the description. New Devy League is going to be drawn, I believe, June 15th is what I said in yesterday's video. So June 15th, if you guys want to be in that new listener Devy League, fill out the Google form that's linked there, also linked in the description. And then also we have a new Instagram where we're going to be posting short form content, a combination of our two TikToks there. So make sure to follow us over on Instagram if you guys are over there. But let's get into Max's trade question to get this thing kicked off, Danny. He said, curious if I down tier here. He has Burrow, Penix, Herbert, A-Rich, also the 101, 109, and 202. I mean, presumably you're not going to get a quarterback with any of those picks. But do you think this is enough to down tier off of Burrow in a super flex league? Would you be okay with Burrow, with Penix, Herbert, and A-Rich, knowing that you're not really getting a quarterback in return?
Well, what's your direction with a quarterback core of Penix, Herb, and A-Rich? Because I can tell you right now, from a production perspective, if you trade Burrow, you're just not going to have enough firepower at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, with these guys, like you're going to add Genty at 101. At 109, you presumably grab like an Ibuka or like a tight end.
Bang my knee, sorry.
I would say.
And you didn't even see that, did you?
What's up?
I just accidentally banged my knee and was fucking wincing.
Oh, no, you're good. He'd also then get Harrison in this deal, so that would upgrade his wide receiver core. And he'd have a future. Well, he doesn't have his one next year, but he would have somebody else's one, I think. I don't know. Maybe he's getting his own one back. I'm not sure.
If you don't have your one, keep the top 5 projected quarterback.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it as well. I think generally speaking, this is like a tad light period. Like if this was 2 1s in Harrison, I think I would be a little bit more inclined to make this trade. But I just don't think this is quite enough to move off of Burrow for me.
My issue really isn't like the package itself, because I think like it's relatively fair speaking. Again, keep in mind that's 5th overall versus 12th overall where I have him. Like I have him more so in like that wide receiver range and Malik Neighbors range. But at the same time, any way you slice it, when you're the number 1 team in your league, or number 2 team in your league, sorry, correction, like you're just losing way too much production value. Like why not at that point try to move Herbert? Like in my opinion, if you're going to move a quarterback that you know you're going to get a liquidity back for, I would much rather move the guy that's maybe a quarterback 17 projection this year versus the quarterback 4 or 5 projection.
Yeah, for sure. And Mason says, please tell me y'all have another hookup for a pick'em slip tonight. Yeah, we did. The stream that we did the other day where we did the best ball draft, we hit that entry. It was a 4. We flexed it, unfortunately, so we only ended up like 11xing. But if any of you guys tailed that, it was a 20x plus the profit boost if you tailed it and had the nuts to go for it all in. And I know Mason was one of those. I'll drop a pick'em slip tonight on my TikTok. I don't know if we can maybe build one together. It's just we don't have Spicy here in the back seat to build it for us. So I'll probably drop one tonight on my TikTok, Mason, if you want to tail that one. I'm obviously going to be using some of the odds jam stuff there as well. But yeah, going back to this trade, I would say this is probably like when I look at this is not a team review, obviously, but when I look at this team, this is a house money team. Once you add Genty, once you add like Tyler Warren, Colson Loveland, somebody like that at 109, and maybe you get another running back at 202 or another wide receiver at 202, you're pretty squarely in a house money window. So I would definitely be more inclined to sell off Herbert, like you said.
Yeah, I would agree there. Again, decent value, but we want to keep Burrow here, especially considering you don't have your one.
Yep, absolutely. And again, if you're just joining us, we are going to go through, and it's doing this thing again, Mason. I don't know why it always does this, where it doesn't let me update the question status. That's really annoying me. Is it because of this? Maybe. Hold on.
Did you not start streaming?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
No, it's not. It's just not updating the question. It freaking does this all the damn time to me. Okay. Let's get into Keg Car's question. I'm gonna have to manually link everybody the links to the stream again. I've had to do this a million freaking times, and it's bothering me at this point. Half PPR, I get Jordan Addison for my 2025 205 and late 3rd.
Yeah, at that point, I think that's a reasonable price.
Yeah, I did, Mason, right before we went live just to make sure this wouldn't happen. It's still doing the same thing. I get Addison for my 205 and late third. Yeah, I mean, this is a really, really easy package to get Jordan Addison for. He's definitely worth more than that.
I mean, how much more than that? Like,
here, let me, you go on a
202?
diatribe real quick. I'm just going to quickly log in and out while that's going on.
Yeah, well, I would agree with you. I would take Addison, but like realistically, like what's he worth? The 201, the 112?
Addison is probably, I would rather have Addison than Matthew Golden, and Matthew Golden is ranked like 110-ish for me.
I think that's about same tier. For me.
Which is, I mean, I slightly prefer the guaranteed guy that's already kind of done it. I think Golden turning into Addison would be relatively a hit, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with Golden, the player.
Yeah. Like I like Addison. I think like the ultimate target appeal of Golden does become the one. Like that's why I would favor that. But I don't think there's a wrong answer there. They're very clearly same tier. Regardless, though, like paying the 205 plus a late third basically to move up to whether it's the 110, the 112, the 201, like I would make that deal every single time to move up.
Yeah. No, this deal specifically is very easy to make there. So
yeah,
again, we could go back and forth on Golden if you want to re-roll it. That's totally fair, I think, because Addison is somewhat of a capped asset in terms of what you're getting out of him. I just like the guaranteed kind of wide receiver 2-3 production at a young age. So this is a big trade that Cole has here. He does also have a team review, I believe, later on here. Or no, he just has 2 trade questions. So this is a kind of sell all your chips kind of move by the looks of it, where you're giving up Justin Herbert. You're giving up 2 projected early to mid firsts in 26 and in 27, respectively. And then you're also giving up an early to mid second and a third in 2027 to get Jared Goff, Aaron Jones, Ashton Genty, and Mike Evans. Again, this is kind of a shove type of move by the looks of it.
I would just love another piece that isn't just a depreciating asset next to Ashton Genty in this.
It looks like this is his team currently. So he's thinking, hey, I got a really strong looking team. The 26 1 and 27 1, it appeared to be his. So maybe he didn't mean to put in early to mid. I would say these are probably more mid to late, especially you add Genty to this team. You add Mike Evans, you add Jared Goff, you add whoever the other asset in the deal was. I'd say you're probably not looking at an early to mid first, assuming it's your first.
See, I don't disagree. I would just like one more asset that's not just a dead asset after this year. Like,
Aaron Jones is what you're referring to?
Aaron Jones, Mike Evans too, like, I would want one more young piece if I'm giving up all that liquidity. Like, what would be his rationale to do this? Like,
I mean, he's stripping the old production off of his team. He's getting Aaron Jones gone, Mike Evans gone, Jared Goff's about 30 years old. He's rebuilding, and he doesn't have a ton of pick capital at this point, other than the 27 ones that he has there. So I think this makes.
I'm going after Rice if that's the case. Like straight up, if you can get Evans replaced with Rice in that deal.
Because here's the other thing: you're giving up Justin Herbert in the trade. It said as well. Remember.
Yeah.
Like you're giving up Justin Herbert here as well. So if it doesn't say Herbert's on his roster for whatever reason, but if you're giving up Herbert, the reason you're doing that is because you think you feel good with this 3 stack of QBs. Unless I would say that if you're giving up Herbert, you should, like you said there, you're giving up Herbert and 2 1s and then some other stuff. Genty, Rice, and Goff, or even like if you wanted to go, I mean, he's probably going to be motivated to keep Penix and McCarthy because they're younger guys. But yeah, Genty, Rice, Evans, and Jones is probably what I would rather do. Like, I don't even need Goff as much, to be honest, because you'll have Darnold, Lawrence, and May.
Yeah.
Like, if it meant getting Rice instead of Goff to increase like your wide receiver firepower there, I think I would rather do that, to be honest.
I would too. Like, now again, maybe he meant to type in Lawrence or something. Like, I don't know, but regardless, I don't see Herbert on your roster. But if you also have Herbert on top of that quarterback core, like you don't really feel hard pressed to get one back, especially if it equates to you getting more value.
Yeah, if you did meant to type like Lawrence there, I would shoot for maybe get him even to throw in Milrow. Give him Genty, Rice, Evans.
I don't think Milrow does anything for you.
Like that.
I don't think Milrow does anything for him.
But he has Darnold. So having the Seattle quarterback core locked down and Milrow gives you the upside, Darnold gives you the short-term appeal. I think that's
I can't do the deal
Rice instead of Goff. I would rather have Rice and Milrow than Goff, personally.
Very, very comfortably.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. If you can get Rice and Milrow instead of Goff in this deal, I would rather do that.
Well, yeah, like I would much rather have Rice straight up than Goff. So if you can get plus on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I'd say right now, assuming these are mid to late first, not early to mid first, because again, your team is pretty ready to compete at this point in time. I do tend to lean in terms of overall value that Genty is quite a bit, better than every asset in this deal. But if you can swap out Goff for Rice and Milrow, or even just Rice, I would feel better about this deal in a vacuum. And again, these more or less
Herbert plus
mid to late ones to me.
Herbert plus one of the ones equals about Genty at this point.
Yeah. I'd rather have Genty than Herbert in a mid to late one, guaranteed. I would easily rather have Genty, to be honest.
Yeah, and then at that point, it's a 1, 2, and 3 for the others. Like, I would want some more permanence with the asset I'm getting back. What this guy's direction is already at. He's already tilted his hand that he wants to tear it down. So trying to exact as much as you can based on your leverage is about the direction I'd go. Like, if you can get Rice on this deal, like we said, instead of maybe Goff, like that would be the cherry on top.
Yeah, absolutely. But even in a vacuum, the way this deal is currently constructed, Herbert plus the second plus the mid to late first plus a third equals about Genty to me. And then it's a mid to late first for Goff, Jones, and Evans. Like in a vacuum, that's actually a very good deal if you think about it.
I don't think you're getting Herbert a 1, 2, and 3 for Genty.
Okay, well, let's take the 3 out of it then. Then it's
I would say
a 1 and a 3 for Evans, Jones, and Goff.
Yeah. No, regardless, any way you slice it, I would want knowing
his. You can, I guess, is the point. Shoot for Rice. If you can get Rice, definitely do it. But honestly, like I tend to lean towards this side in a vacuum. Even
I would even be willing to upgrade that 3 to a 2 if it gets you Rice.
Yeah, no, that's a good call for sure. So let's move on to the next trade here from RFerg, and then we'll get into the team reviews in a second. So Herbert plus an early to mid first in 2026 for Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah, this is basically the same tier as Genty. So
yeah. Again, depends on your quarterback situation. Let's take a look at it. If you have a surplus of quarterback, I'm cool with going out and being aggressive.
Mayfield, Herbert, Prescott.
That is not a surplus of quarterback. So
yeah. I think knowing that you can pivot that asset into a BTJ, then you'd have a BTJ, McMillan, Wilson, Ayuk, Tyreek, and all those guys. And it looks like you have a first to burn here. I mean,
I would rather consolidate
and give him your own first instead of, I guess he's going for his own first back. So that's an added layer to this deal, is that this guy's first is he's getting his own one back.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to charge him a little bit of a premium, knowing that guy probably assumes he's going to be tearing it down.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be the case here. Now go back up to your team. I think the issue that I have is that you have a ton of like solid producing quarterbacks, but you don't have like a needle mover on this roster. Like I would almost rather venture and see if Dart plus Herbert can upgrade me.
I mean, to be honest, from like a production standpoint, though, you get Herbert off of this roster. You're starting Mayfield and Prescott every single week. That's
sure.
Needle moving production. It's just not needle moving value.
Sure, but then at that point, it's like Aaron Rodgers is going to be your quarterback 3. I guess maybe
Dart's going to be your quarterback 3
for this year. Dart's not going to start this year.
I mean, to me, I'm totally fine with Baker Mayfield. Dak Prescott as my top 2 quarterbacks, with Dart as my long-term guy, Rodgers, and even Shuck too, like is going to probably start games. Like I feel fine with this quarterback core, to be honest.
I mean, like it's probably going to be like the 11th ranked quarterback core in the league.
I disagree. Not from a production standpoint, maybe from like it's already it's
a value
rated quarterback core in the league, and I don't have Herbert ranked high. Like as soon as you take him out of this, it's going to be like 7th ranked, and I frankly think that Mayfield and Prescott are really good in redraft. So
I agree. I would rather see if Herbert and Dart could upgrade me. Like I think that's kind of like my difference.
Then you're not really getting a wide receiver upgrade though.
Maybe, but
like
you're also keeping the first to be able to liquidate.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But this guy's first it sounds like he's going to be trying to tear it down, and that's why he's giving you BTJ and he wants a quarterback or whatever. Like what I would just do is maybe just push for a little bit more because he's getting his one back. Like if you could do Herbert and the first for BTJ and Flowers, even if you had to throw in like a 2 or something like that, that would give you another good young receiver to build around.
Because we saw the early to mid first, it's a different scenario to last team, because we said with the last team, like we could see a scenario where that's more mid to late. So we're more willing to stomach it. This guy is trying to get his one back. He is trying to make sure the one that you are giving him back ends up being the 101 or the 102 in the 2026 class. You already inherently have the leverage. Even if he tries to bluff to you and he tries to say, hey, no, that's not my intention. I just want to be flexible. It's like, nah, you're not doing it to be fucking flexible. You're doing it because you want your pick back, because you're tearing down this god-awful roster. Talking about the other guy's perspective, not yours. Obviously, you built a good team. But if you go back to this other guy's team, like, if he doesn't get his one back, like, what's he going to do? Like, his quarterback core is fucking cooked. His running back core, one injury, he is fucking cooked. His wide receivers are very strong, but like...
The only thing I would push back on is in his mind, maybe he's just getting his one back to insulate himself in case he has a bad season. Because if you add Justin Herbert to this team and take BTJ away, I think the average Dynasty player would still maybe look at this roster and think that they can win with it, with Goff, Stafford, and Herbert, Kyron and Kenneth Walker as their top running backs, Justin Jefferson, JSN, Flowers, and Sutton as their top receivers, Sam Laporta, David Njoku as their tight ends. Like, most of those guys are going highly in redraft settings.
But like, to me, you're like, if he moves BTJ, he's losing his wide receiver firepower.
He
doesn't have the quarterback firepower to
compete more at quarterback anyways.
Yeah. Like, I get the rationale.
The only thing I would say is that maybe he's not tearing it down. That would be the only thing I would say.
But then why else would he make this offer?
Well, if you think about it, if he's not tearing it down, that actually makes the trade even better for him because it's a mid to late first instead of an early to mid first.
No. Like, for our guy specifically, I'm saying from the other guy's perspective, like, the whole reason why you trade BTJ to get back your own first and Herbert is to control it down to the 101, 102. Otherwise, if it ends up being the 107, you would take BTJ every single time.
You would, but here's the thing, Danny. Most Dynasty players are not going to think optimally in this situation. They're going to think, I need a quarterback. How do I get a quarterback? I'll do this BTJ because I have so many great receivers. It doesn't even matter if I lose BTJ is probably what he's thinking.
And maybe, but I just think maybe that's more so from like how I approach the game. Like, psychologically, if I got this offer in my inbox, I would immediately be thinking, what is he trying to do to get his own first round pick back? Like, what is he trying to accomplish here? Like, anytime I get a cold offer in my inbox of somebody trying to get their pick back, I immediately question what their motivation is.
I agree. But I'm telling you right now, like, it might be RFerg's job to kind of inquire, hey, are you tearing things down, or like, what's going on here? Because I assume you're going after your own one. You're going after your own one. You might be tearing things down. And if so, I want more than this for Justin Herbert. I want, give me Zay Flowers and I'll throw a 2 on my side just to give me a little bit more juice on that.
Yeah, if you could squeeze out some extra value, I would agree, because I think the risk here is because he's getting his own pick back. Like, as soon as you give it up, like, who's to say he doesn't just sell away?
Yeah, he could sell Jefferson, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, all those guys, Jared Goff, potentially. Like, yeah, again, we don't know for sure. I would, in a vacuum, if this is projected to be a mid to late first and he's just trying to get a quarterback asset, I would definitely take the BTJ side. And even in this situation, I probably lean the BTJ side anyways.
Sure,
but if you can squeeze a little bit more, that would be what I would say.
But if you know the guy's intention is to be a top 3 pick, try to squeeze more is basically what we're trying to say. Regardless, and who knows, maybe this guy listened to when we talked about it from our rebuilding lens or the fraud lens, for example, the videos that we did a couple weeks ago. First move you want to make when you realize you're tearing it down is getting your first pick back. Because, for example, from RFerg's perspective,
even me, I'm like, he could compete maybe. Like, if he intends to tear his team down, it's, what did we say in that video? It's got to be the first move you make.
First move you make
back. Because you
now, want to give the illusion to people that you're still trying to get into.
I'm looking at his team as an experienced Dynasty player thinking he might think he can compete. But maybe he's thinking, I'm selling everybody once I have this first back. You know what I mean? Like, he might be thinking that. So that's why you make that move, is because even me, I'm like, maybe he thinks he can compete.
Well, that's like the chess game of Dynasty, right? Is you want to give the illusion that you're attempting to do something that maybe isn't in your intention, specifically when it comes down to tearing your team. That's why you want to get your first pick back, because if people have the illusion that you're trying to compete, maybe you're not having to pay the premium that you'd have to if that's the last move you make or that's the third move you make.
Yeah, this next one's very self-explanatory. If you see where I have these 2 players ranked in terms of overall, they are one spot apart. They are 1 spot apart for me. So I'm taking this all day.
Dude, I have Ja'Marr Chase at 1 and I have Malik Neighbors at 4. You're telling me I can insulate 2 1s on a guy that can literally outrank Ja'Marr Chase next year?
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is barely 20. He's not even 22 years old yet. Yeah. Like, and he's this much of a beast. Like, I love Ja'Marr Chase. I love Justin Jefferson. I love CeeDee Lamb. Malik's got 3.5, 4 years of youth on his side versus those guys, which is why I have him wide receiver 2 over just behind Ja'Marr Chase.
Which is reasonable. Again, I have it a little bit different. So when I've been reworking it again, so when I do my rankings, I'll obviously do it with the assumption, like, okay, I'm evaluating these player rankings. This is exactly where I want to have them. But I'm telling you right now, the most movement that actually happens in my rankings, you know when it is, Corey?
When we go through redraft projection?
When I'm actually in a fucking startup, because I actually have to make the click and I have to look myself in the mirror and realize, okay, no, this is actually how I view it. So when that happened, I moved Malik Neighbors up to 9th overall. I moved Brock Bowers up to, Malik Neighbors up to 8th overall. I moved Brock Bowers up to 9th overall. And I I put them in the tier with the Hurts, the Jefferson, the Lamb, and the Chase. Because two things. One, you literally saw in our flocked up league, did I not get CeeDee Lamb plus for Brock Bowers in that league?
You did.
So if that's going to be the case in leagues, how am I not at least going to have them in the same tier as a dynasty asset?
Yeah, no, and I think you
and same with neighbors.
You should recognize that you are on an island with your CeeDee Lamb evaluation. And most people, I would say, in half tight end premium leagues would prefer Brock Bowers, including myself.
Really, eh?
Yeah, and I love CeeDee Lamb too.
Where do you have Bowers ranked?
Probably above market, relatively speaking. I have Bowers. Let me take a look. At the moment, they're very close. Like it's not like it's a negligible difference for sure, but they're like literally probably back to back in my rankings if I looked.
Well, probably like 7 and 8 or 8 and 9 or something like that.
I have Brock Bowers at where is he? I have him at 111, and I have CeeDee Lamb at 112. So they are back to back.
Oh, buddy, who the fuck do you have over those two?
I mean, you're gonna hate it, but
disgusting.
I think there's an undisputed RB1 in Dynasty. So that's who I have over him.
Disgusting.
I got a 23-year-old guy who's about to have a legendary season. He's going to be absolutely untouchable on the market for me. So I have Bijan ahead of both of them.
Disgusting.
I would absolutely hear arguments that, oh, you want to stay flexible early in your draft. You go with Bowers or you go with Lamb. I think that's totally fine.
You better move Bijan above Jefferson then.
He is above Jefferson.
Okay, so where do you have him ranked? Like 106?
108.
Oh, shit. Who do you have?
He's a beast, man, especially with the way the quarterback position is now. Where
who
you
do you have at 6 to 8 then?
Who do I have 6 to 8? Well, I have these two players right here, Malik Neighbors and Jamar Chase, 6 and 7, and Bijan's at 8.
So then who do you have at 4 and 5?
I haven't moved Jalen Hurts and Burrow from 4 and 5 in
Burrow,
calendar years.
No. Burrow's the one I was missing. I was confused for a second. I'm like, wait,
they've been in the same spot for like 2 calendar years for me. I haven't moved him once.
Yeah. So, okay, so Burrow and Hurts 4, 5, 6 through 8 you have or 6 and 7 you have Chase and Neighbors. 8 you have Bijan or Bowers.
Bijan at 8, Jefferson at 9, Bowers at 10, CeeDee Lamb at 11. Sorry, I think I may have mixed up how I said that.
All right, Unk.
It is a tier. It is a tier for what it's worth. From Jamar Chase at 6 all the way down to Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. It's all one tier for me. So I have there's no real difference to me in my mind.
Yeah, I think you're mistaken, brother.
That's fine. I mean,
those
I know
4 wide receivers are
Caleb and Drake May and those guys a little bit higher, but I think
not even just the quarterbacks. Like the quarterbacks, whatever. You want to take the running backs over them. I just think like there's a very clear top 4 wide receivers in Dynasty, and they have to all be.
Well, they all are in the same tier for what it's worth. I have them 6 through 11, and they're all in the same tier.
I don't know how you can rank Bijan over those other two. Like that's just my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, Bijan Robinson's about to have a legendary running back season. That's why.
Yeah. I mean,
and
full
PPR,
PPR,
running back always trumps a 20-point per game receiver. Always.
Well, a 24-point per game receiver is going to matter.
But that's not a.
Bijan being a legendary running back is not a guarantee. Not a guarantee. Well, you just mentioned Lamb. It's not a guarantee to be 24-point per game. Neither is Bijan.
No, but I think Bijan like legitimately might be the best projection in all of fantasy this year.
I mean, they're my number 2 and number 3 overall players this year. So
yeah, which is again, I think that the ceiling is higher, and it's not just because he's got a legendary running back ceiling, which out trumps a legendary wide receiver ceiling. It's that his position group is also far shallower than wide receiver. And he is a significant. When you have Bijan Robinson in your RB1 slot, you have a significant advantage over the rest of your league mates versus CeeDee Lamb in your wide receiver 1 spot.
But how many times do we have to take a running back in the first round of a dynasty startup to realize the next offseason that maybe we shouldn't have taken him in the first round of the dynasty startup?
It's not the same when it's a 23-year-old who was elite prospect.
We've literally had that
running backs in the NFL. It's different when it's Jonathan Taylor who doesn't catch the football.
Well, that's what I mean. Like what happened to Jonathan Taylor after
he doesn't catch the ball like Bijan. Sure, that's the difference.
I agree, but he was coming off a 21.5 point year and he was going as a 1-2 turn pick.
Yeah.
In his second year.
I mean, as a second-year running back who was a dominant prospect and came in and dominated right away, I think that was totally fine. The difference is that Bijan catches the football.
Well, I'm just pointing out the fact that like they are inherently far more volatile. Like if you want to take a running back in the second round, but to take them as your first pick, I just will never agree fundamentally. I know you're Unk, but
I'm fine doing it because quarterback is deeper than usual and wide receiver is deeper than usual. In
quarterback
years past,
is deeper
the
with
wide receiver top-heavy nature of and it still is kind of top-heavy, but I just like the middling wide receiver 2s and 3s more than you do. We've already talked about this.
I just fundamentally would need a running back in the second round because otherwise I would just wait for Ashton Genty in the middle of the second round, then take Bijan in the first.
Well, I have him at 13, so he's like literally the next player off the board for me. So
you're just full unking the position.
Dude. You can't convince me that Bijan, Gibbs, and Genty are not at least a first round pick more valuable than every other running back in Dynasty. And I would argue that Bijan might be a first and a second more, or close to a first round pick more valuable than Gibbs and Genty are.
Oh, I would completely disagree. What?
That's where I'm at with Bijan, man. I think he has that caliber monster season about to come up.
Dude, you're I don't know what you ate, then maybe like a bologna sandwich this morning. I don't know what's going on, but your unk meters are off the charts.
My unk meter is off the charts. It's not, you think I have all the running backs ranked this high. It's just Bijan.
Bijan over two of the other tier 1 dynasty wide receivers, I just think is faded.
He's 2.5 years younger than those players as well. Like you can argue, even though he plays running
back, but the volatility of the
receiver,
position matters, man.
You can argue that because they play wide receiver and will be 27 this year, and Bijan plays running back and will be 24 this year, that an ACL tear would affect them the same.
I completely disagree.
I think they would probably
let me ask you opportunity bundles. Christian McCaffrey plus CeeDee Lamb or Rome Odunze plus Bijan Robinson?
I would take Rome Odunze and Bijan Robinson and sleep like a fucking baby.
Oh,
dude, are you talking about risk of running backs? You're going to throw Christian McCaffrey's name out there?
I'm talking if I'm going after running back point production, give it to me at an opportunity.
I'm not going after running back point production. You can 1-year punt with Bijan. He's 23 years old.
Why would you 1-year punt with a 22 plus point per game scorer? If you're drafting Lamb or Bijan, why are you punting?
Because I think Bijan is more valuable on the market than CeeDee Lamb, and Keep Trade Cut and many other services would agree with me, not you.
Keep Trade Cut is what we're referencing for.
Well, it's the market value and our Dynasty Flock rankings have him higher too.
Keep Trade Cut, where half of the fucking picks on there are 1 quarterback boomers.
He's higher on this. He's higher in DLF's ADP. He's higher on our Flock rankings, brother. You are on an island here.
And then people are going to have to fucking put some respect on CeeDee Lamb, straight up.
Yeah, you forget that Lamb is going to be 27 next year. You he's not like a young player.
He's the exact same
3 to 4 year window now.
Exact same age as Justin Jefferson and a year older than Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a 22 plus point per game scorer again this year.
He's a sick player, man. He's a sick player.
I think it's faded. But anyways,
here's why. Quickly getting back to the straight question. The reason I have Neighbors higher than Jefferson and Lamb,
I think that's reasonable. They're in the same
because Neighbors fits every single build in Dynasty. Yeah. That's why. He's an easier click in a startup because he maintains more flexibility for you.
You cannot for the life of me convince me that a running back pick keeps you more flexible than a receiver pick.
I never said it did.
You just basically referenced
I said that for Neighbors. I said that for Neighbors, not for Bijan.
No. I'm talking Bijan versus Lamb specifically.
I'm saying that because it's a 26-year-old wide receiver and a 23-year-old running back, the window is about the same. Like, give or take, running backs fall off about 2 years before wide receivers in terms of their overall age. 28 for running backs, about 30 for wide receivers.
Yeah.
From a value standpoint, 25 for running backs, 27 for wide receivers. It's about the same age adjusted for the two players.
Tell me all the running backs that have been taken in the top 15 of startups in the last few years and look at what their ADPs were the following year.
Tell me all the running backs that are Bijan Robinson who have been taken in the top 15.
Christian McCaffrey's been taken in the top 15. Saquon Barkley's been taken in the top 15.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey, when he was in the top 15 at 23 years old,
and then he got hurt.
A wise selection. He just got hurt.
Sure. 23 years old. Okay, he was literally a top 15 selection 2 years ago in startups.
Okay, that was wrong. He wasn't 23 when that happened. That's not the same comparison.
I pointed out running backs being selected in the top 15 of dynasty drafts. He would have been 25 then.
When they're 23, it's a fair comparison. When they're 27 going in the top 15, it doesn't count.
He was 25 when he was.
Okay, even still, that's 2 more years.
Okay. Regardless, Breece Hall. What about fucking all these? Like you can point to so many. Najee Harris, Jonathan. Obviously, Bijan Robinson is a better player than.
He's
Najee
better than all those guys.
All those guys were going in the top 15 of startups, though. I'm pointing out the fact that the
comparison is when
there.
Barkley and McCaffrey were going that high at that age when they were that old,
and they lost literally double the value.
They also had suffered devastating injuries,
despite them being legendary upside players.
Yeah. So if Bijan gets hurt, you're correct. But he hasn't gotten hurt yet. He's been durable as shit.
I mean, till when?
we can't predict that.
I'm pointing out the volatility on the market. You just
I agree with you, but the same could be said for Lamb and Jefferson. They all are durable players.
That's why I'm pointing. I fundamentally disagree with the aspect that Bijan going down would lose less value than a Lamb or a Jefferson going down.
I think both would lose a lot of value for sure. An ACL tear to Bijan Robinson, an ACL tear to CeeDee Lamb. I think you could argue that CeeDee would be slightly more valuable because he's a wide receiver, but he'd also be 27 coming off of an ACL tear. And if you look at Brandon Ayuk right now and his value, an elite wide receiver, ACL tear, 27 years old or 26 years old, you see how much value you lose on the market. It's not like you lose nothing just because you're elite.
Counterpoint, Rashid Rice shredded his knee after 3 games last year, and he's going on the 2-3 turn on underdog. And I think it's a fine pick.
He's also 24, not 27, which Lamb would be a calendar year from now.
Underdog. Not Dynasty.
He also didn't tear his ACL for what it's worth.
He shredded his LCL.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Yeah. Shredded his LCL, and
doctors have pointed out that that's not the same injury.
Okay, but I'm pointing out that there was significant, and also we didn't point out ACL tear. We said
I'm saying you saying that Bijan's downside as a running back is low because if he gets injured or something. I'm saying if you give the exact same injury to both Lamb and Bijan, they're probably valued relatively the same. I would also argue Bijan's much younger.
Wide receivers also recover quicker than running backs because we have scientific proof, data proof that the year after the ACL tear, typically it's year 2 when the running back bounces back.
You're right.
Year 2 for a running back, that's 23. Well, guess what? You just mentioned when Christian McCaffrey was 25 going in the second round, Bijan Robinson would be 25 at that point.
No,
so,
okay.
What?
He'd be 25
year 2
years
off
from
the
now.
injury.
Yeah.
Look at Brees Hall as well.
You know that. Well, first of all, he had a top 6 season after an ACL tear. So I don't know if you want to be bringing him up as an example. Second of all, the most common things the doctors will tell you, the best indicators for recovery from injury are what? There's 2 of them. Both favor Bijan Robinson over CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, you're gonna point to youth.
Age and athletic ability.
Okay, well, you said age and athletic ability. Yeah, that matters per position. Wide receiver inherently will take less damage than a running back will.
I mean, this is a better question for a fantasy doc, but from what I understand, it's age and athleticism that matter more than position that you play.
And there's a difference of 160 touches in a year potentially between them.
Yeah.
Am I wrong there? Is Bijan Robinson not going to touch the ball 330 times this year?
Yeah.
And CeeDee Lamb's probably going to touch the ball at most 130 times, 130 catches?
Yeah, I mean, we should get off this topic. Yeah. This is unnecessary because they're both elite assets. But I don't know. Maybe it's worth something to you guys. Maybe we're just annoying the fuck out of everybody. Let's move on to the next question here. Josh Jacobs, 2026, early to mid first. I mean, I value the first higher. Let's take a look at Carlos's team here and see what kind of position he's in. I mean, he's all in here by the looks of it.
I would just take the first and liquidate because, like, realistically, you can take any of those young assets, use the first and upgrade a maybe Bucky Irving plus gets you up to Jahmyr Gibbs, who knows, but upgrade a RJ Harvey, upgrade a Caleb Johnson because you'd have a first pick of liquidity.
Yeah, I mean, in a start,
I would consolidate with this team.
It's a start 9 league too, so you could definitely take the first that you get for Jacobs, hypothetically. Take Rome Odunze and Jalen Waddle plus that early first that you get and go up and get, Neighbors or something like that. Or, maybe you get to St. Brown with that or something like I would say in a vacuum, the first is more valuable. I get not wanting to make this deal because you're all in and you're trying to win. And Jacobs absolutely would be an every week starter for you. Even in a start 9, he would find your lineup at least as a flex option behind Irving and Bijan Robinson. And I actually have Jacobs higher from a redraft perspective. But yeah, I think I would take the liquidity and you could reposition. We're not going back to this argument. We could reposition. We could reposition that asset into an elite an elite tight end. Sorry, like that early to mid first that you're getting. We could reposition that asset into an elite tight end because right now you're starting. Can I finish my point here? Right now you're starting Dalton Kincaid as your starting tight end. So you could reposition that early to mid first you get for Jacobs and go up and try and get Trey McBride or something like that, which would probably benefit your team point production wise more anyways.
Yeah, sorry. I get you're talking, but he literally asked if we skipped over his team. No,
we didn't. We're doing the trade questions first.
Yeah, no, I'm just telling him that because he paid for a question. I feel like he should get an answer, right?
Yeah, I know. I was gonna address him.
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. So trade again in a vacuum. I'd say early to mid first is probably the answer here. It would also, I really should probably point out too, it would probably depend on your league market because if you're in a league that like a guy like Jacobs is extremely valuable, for example, firsts are not very valuable, then maybe Jacobs actually is more liquid in markets like that than an early to mid projected first. That would be the only, caveat I would say. But in a vacuum, both of us would have an early to mid projected first as a more valuable asset than Jacobs. And the other thing I guess to keep in mind too is you're getting an early to mid projected first from a guy who's trading for a competitive asset. So maybe it's not so early to mid projected.
Let's check if is it his own pick?
It is not. He has his own pick. So I'm trying to see. It doesn't say whose first it is, like in the trade. So I don't know exactly.
If it's this guy's first, there's like no chance it's an early to mid one.
No, he has his own one. So he has Jacobs. He'd be selling Jacobs for unless he made this trade already. Maybe he made the trade. I don't know.
Sorry, yeah, I misread it. My apologies. He is the number one ranked team. I thought we were looking at the team that like he would be getting the one from.
No, that's why I'm saying like in a vacuum, you're the competitive team. You could keep Jacobs because he'll hit your lineup, no problem. But if you wanted to get the more liquid asset to go upgrade at tight end, which is your bigger need right now because you're starting Dalton Kincaid, I think that would make sense because you could take Odunze plus that early to mid first and go get Trey McBride.
Yeah, I'd agree. We can move on to the next question. Also, just real quickly, it's Cowboy Homerism preferring CeeDee Lamb when he literally had a season outscoring Jamar Chase, who we all agree is the number one wide receiver. Got it. It's a Cowboy Homerism. That makes sense.
Okay, we got a couple more trade questions to rip through first, and then we'll get through the teams. Okay, MoosetheGoose here.
Okay, you love Bijan, but let's be fucking serious here.
105, 101, and 102. Yeah, no shot. I have Genty.
Let's be serious.
Yeah, Genty. The way that I would value Bijan versus Genty is probably a late projected first versus an early to mid projected second swap. That's probably how I would value the two guys based on who's my RB1 and how I have them ranked. So you're getting Genty plus the 102 and 105. It's not even close.
Same tier for me. Same tier for me. So I would.
Yeah, very, very easily the Genty side there, MoosetheGoose. And then
how does that deal even get proposed?
I don't know. That's insane. Josh S here says Jacobs and Addison for Trevion Henderson in an early to mid second.
Henderson side very easily.
Let me see the team situation because that would be the only thing that would maybe sway me a little bit. I think he's being offered. This is his team, I believe, right? Yeah, Josh Slatsquatch here. He has Henderson. So this guy's offering him Jacobs and Addison because he could use a wide receiver and he'd still get a competitive running back. He's kind of in a winning window. I mean, if you think about it, he has Lamb, he has Kittle, he has, a bunch of guys that he's trying to win. He's got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, for example. So Jacobs and Addison are going to go a long way to help you win. I just think you could probably get more for Henderson.
I'm looking at it right now. On top of that, you have the early season production to the point where I would much rather hold the upside of Henderson in this situation because there's a very real possible scenario in a full PPR league that come week 14, week 15, week 16, week 17, there are maybe less than a handful of running backs you can name in that setting you'd want over Henderson.
What is the wide receiver name that makes you accept this trade?
It would need to be more of a needle mover than Addison. I would need to get a consequential producer. Can we go to
if it's T. Higgins, would you accept the deal? I think he actually has T. Higgins on his roster, so that might be a bad example. If it's Garrett Wilson, would you accept the trade?
No.
You wouldn't accept Garrett Wilson and Josh Jacobs in a competitive window like this?
Here, go to team quick.
In his starting lineup, presumably, he would have Genty.
Where's the guy with Addison? I want to see the other team.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. If he throws JSN instead.
If it's JSN, that's a little more reasonable. You're talking about a difference between a 2-3 turn underdog pick right now versus, where does Addison go? 5th round, 6th round?
Yeah. I think if it's JSN, I would do it as the trade is currently constructed right now. If it's, he would need to give me either JSN or maybe you can even add something smaller and get up to Harrison or Collins potentially. Yeah. Like if it's Henderson a second plus something else from your team to get to Collins, that would also make sense to me.
Yeah, like maybe you have to add a piece because
Benson, maybe Benson's a young player. He might be interested in Benson.
Well, it might be difficult because then at that point it's like, okay, well, would he really do Harrison plus Jacobs for Henderson or two? He probably wouldn't because Harrison's a better asset straight up than Henderson. Like for me, I view JSN slightly. It's tough because it's like the value range would probably be like Addison is the guy, but the issue for me is that I would need more point equity. Like I don't think Addison is a big enough needle mover on a point per game basis. I would try for JSN if you have to add a little bit. If you can somehow get Nico or Marv, it's a robbery.
Yeah. I think I'd be willing to throw in like Henderson a 2 and Benson or somebody that's less like Kyle Williams, somebody like less consequential, and see how close you can get to Nico, because Nico would really, really move the needle for your team. And he might be more inclined to keep Harrison over Nico anyways, because if he's trying to rebuild, he probably wants the younger receiver. That would be my only addendum to this trade. But yeah, as it currently is constructed, it's not enough at the moment. I would want more than Addison for sure.
Also, Cole says, I think you guys confused which team was mine for my trade question earlier.
I think he might be talking about the Herbert question, potentially, where we didn't see Herbert on his team or whatever. But Cole, just refresh us in the chat here, and we can reposition some of the advice that we gave if we did confuse that.
For sure.
Pinkyan, the Brian here, 12-team Superflex tight end premium, half PPR, full PPR for tight ends here.
I'm scared to ask you.
Gibbs versus Kenneth Walker and Drake London. I mean, you can see the discrepancy between Gibbs and London in my rankings. It's not big. Gibbs versus London is only an 8-spot discrepancy, but I actually love Drake London. I mean, you probably are aware of this, how high I have him ranked in redraft. I just don't think this is quite enough to move off of Gibbs. It's close, though. It's close.
Yeah, and I'm actually lower comparatively on where you have both these guys ranked. I have Drake London, wide receiver 10. That would be the 22nd overall player on my board. I have Jahmyr Gibbs, RB3, which would be the 17th overall player on my board. So regardless, though, I'm also lower on Kenneth Walker, so I would just need more insulation if I'm going to make this move.
Yeah, I'm pretty much.
You get a 1-for-2 swap.
Yeah, I think that's probably about fair. Then I'm trying to think of which team is his. I guess. At the moment. So he'd be receiving Kenneth Walker and Drake London in that situation.
Keep in mind too. Other factor, Drake London will lose value. This is a half PPR with a 2x tight end premium, so full PPR for tight ends.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be losing Gibbs on your team, but you'd be getting Kenneth Walker back to help supplement that running back production, and you'd be getting London to give you a better receiver. But like you kind of said, I think I'm probably on the side of just keeping Gibbs. I think he's a bigger needle mover because you already have good wide receivers as well. Like you already have neighbors and shit, so.
My team was first down syndrome. The trade already happened, which is why Herbert wasn't on my roster.
The other team is Goffin with a Waddle. Okay, yeah. I'll go back and pull it up on the side here, but because we marked it complete already, I have to do it. I can't do it in the stream.
Okay. Well, we can. I could also just access it right now, so you can keep.
Yeah. I'll keep going on this in the moment, and then we'll quickly answer that, and then we'll get back to the top of the reviews here.
So. It was the Chase question or the other question?
It was the Herbert and the first for the Aaron Jones, Evans, and the other two competitive assets, the Genty and other one there.
The trade already happened is what he said.
That's why I say, so he sold Herbert off of his roster and still had Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Darnold, which is definitely, I mean, I guess you didn't really need Goff then in that situation because you already had Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, and Darnold. I don't think Goff really would have moved the needle for you there. Yeah. I guess it was more just break down the team or the trade.
Got you. Okay, that makes more sense then. His team was first down syndrome, not bearded Ravens.
Okay.
So that's why we got confused. So his quarterback core is McCarthy, Penix, and Goff now. Running backs, Genty, Hampton, Henderson. That makes way more sense now because I think I was like, well, why are you acquiring Genty when you already have Bijan and HN? And like, you don't really need a core. Now it makes more sense.
Okay, so, now I understand where we fucked up on. Okay, so you sold. The reason we got confused is because you inputted it into the thing as they receive, not I receive. Yeah. So that's why we got confused. We thought you were getting the other side.
Yeah, or better yet, honestly, just because it happened with this team, I think we got confused because like they were just back to back. We didn't know which team was which. But now I see. I mean, it doesn't even say
in the actual trade. He put it in the they receive section. Yeah. Not like you see his side on the left. Yeah. It says they receive. If it was his side, then he got I receive.
He did get this side. He did get this side.
Oh, he did get this. Okay, I'm just trolling. I'm just stupid as hell. Don't worry about me.
He had already made the trade. I guess he wanted our thoughts on it. Again, apologies for the confusion. Sorry. But regardless, so your quarterbacks are going to be like the main thing. Obviously, like it's a little bit of an unknown right now, a little bit of risk for my blood.
I mean,
But
if
then
they
when you
hit,
balance
you're
it
going to
out-
be in really good shape.
But that's what I was gonna say. Once you balance it out with the strength that you have at running back, strength that you have at wide receiver, still having most of these picks banked up in terms of liquidity, you still have two 2027 ones, even after moving those 2 picks that you did. Yeah, like if your quarterbacks hit for you, this team is very, very strong. And even if they are 70th percentile outcome for these quarterbacks, like you're still very clearly a top 2 team in your league. This guy's also got a monster, but that is a topic for another day. Regardless, so you're in a good spot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Apologies for the confusion there. We were kind of all over the place. But yeah, let's get to the team reviews that we have at the top here, starting with Sawyer. It said fresh startup. What's the next steps with this team? So he is Bauer Rangers, second ranked team in the startup. You can see usually startup wise, you're going to see a little bit closer of a league market. Nobody's going to have a, mega monster versus the rest of the teams. But yeah, man, 112, you able to walk away, I guess, by the looks of it, with Caleb Williams and I don't know who, Bowers. Yeah, Caleb Williams and Bowers with your first 2 picks. And then at the 3-4 turn, it looks like you ended up getting, maybe it was a 3rd round reversal or whatever, and you got Travis Hunter with the 301, I would imagine, getting Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Amari and Hampton too. Like, you built this thing really well, man. This is a good, young, value accumulation type of team. Obviously, during the year, you're probably going to want to, if Sutton's producing, if Ridley's producing, if Njoku's producing, probably ship that production off of your roster and continue to bank up liquidity. But this is a really good makings of a good 1-year punt, I would say, out of the startup.
Yeah, I was going to say, he mentions here, he got this from the 112. So let's take a look. Pretty solid with the 112. I'm assuming it's a 3rd round reversal, because otherwise
that's what I said. I said Caleb Williams, Bowers, and then probably Hunter was his first 3 picks, but maybe it wasn't a 3rd round reversal and you got Hunter, Hampton back to back at the 3-4 turn.
That's another thing too. That could have happened. Oh my, regardless, you said I got pretty good value for now, you fucking crushed this team from the 112. The fact that you have a quarterback core we both believe in, like just being able to balance the upside, the sheer value upside of Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence with the steady production you're getting from Dak. I think that's almost as perfect of a quarterback core as you can make out of a startup. Like, I have really no notes on that.
My only note would be that if Prescott is balling like crazy, your team is a little bit more of a young team. So you could move off of Prescott for a young quarterback, like a McCarthy plus or a Penix plus or something during the year.
Yeah, like for example, I mentioned the startup that I'm in right now. I took Dak, but like I've just been getting values of like getting 2026 first, getting 2026 seconds, like stuff like that. So I transitioned to a 1-year punt. We're in the 9th round of the startup. I haven't made a pick since the 603 where I took Quinshon Judkins. So that kind of gives you like the idea there. But I'll tell you right now, even as a big Dak guy, like guess what? If he goes out there and he's a quarterback 5 in the first 8 weeks of the year, like in my situation, like yeah, the production is awesome, but like I can very easily sell that at that point. I got him at the 411.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of teams that I've done out of startups that have looked like this. Yeah, the majority of your team is young, but you had to take the value on Sutton because he's just going to go up in value during the year. You had to take the value on Ridley or Bateman or Njoku or Prescott or whatever because you feel like you can sell them for more during the year. It sucks because you're like, ideally, I'd want only young players, but this gives you a little bit more work to do in the fact that during the year, like maybe Cortland Sutton went off the board for like the 205 worth of rookie pick value, and you feel like you might be able to get closer to a 1st round pick of value when he's on the field producing top 30 numbers or whatever for Bo Nix. Like he's probably going to have a good season this year. So I do like adopting this strategy as well. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to be hamstrung by taking a shittier projection from a young player than a better projection from an older player if I feel confident that I can sell them for more during the year.
Yeah, for sure. Regardless, though, if you go up to the value,
just what's the next steps of this team is also what he's mainly asking. And I kind of just outlined it. I mean, you want to sell off that aging production ideally.
Yeah. And exactly how you outlined it. Realistically, sorry, I'll look at something after. Realistically, like this is the perfect shell of a 1-year punt. And like Corey said, like if Njoku's the tight end 3 in fantasy across the first half of the year, you can sell him. Same thing with Dak. Same thing with, I don't know, fucking Cortland Sutton gets off to a hot start. Calvin Ridley gets off to a hot start.
And Njoku.
Yeah, like fucking who knows? Maybe Adam fucking Thielen gets off to a hot start. I don't expect much, but hey, if you can somehow net like a 3rd for him at some point in the season, like he weirdly starts the year as like the wide receiver 13 in points per game.
Yeah,
and a couple years ago, it's like wide receiver 6.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Just to address this too, because Ralph said, hey, I wrote something in Discord as a flock member. And so what he asked me was, is there any way to access the hit rate charts based on the FSC prospect model? And is there any way to look at the grades for the tight ends and quarterbacks? So hit rates are actually in our draft guide. So if you go to our Dynasty rookie draft guide, the running back and wide receiver hit rates are in there. You just scroll down. I think it's like page 80, 85 of the draft guide is when I start doing the prospect model stuff. So the hit rates are in there. The tight end prospect model, the devs are still working out some kinks behind the scenes. That will be up very, very soon. Apologies for the huge wait for that. That should have been up a long time ago. And then the quarterback model, I don't actually have finished yet. Like I'm just beginning to work on it now. So I'm hoping the quarterback prospect model will be done in 3 weeks or so. But I don't actually have the quarterback model finished yet. So that's why you can't see the quarterback stuff. But definitely like July, August territory, you'll be able to see the running back, wide receiver, tight end, and quarterback stuff all in the prospects tab. And the hit rates I can definitely include, even just in article format if you want an easier way to go about that. But yeah, they will be in the draft guide for the running backs and wide receivers specifically. And for the tight end one, you can check out the video that I did, the tight ends to target and avoid video. You can see the hit rates in that video as well.
Sorry, apologies. I didn't want to cut you off because I'm not sure if you saw me giggling because I just saw somebody tweet this.
Oof.
We were just talking about Jefferson, so I was thinking about it.
I did it too. So feels
Unlucky.
bad. Feels bad when you do the Ruggs picks. Still think he would have been good. Definitely not as good as T. Higgins, but still think.
Oh no. I was also pointing Rager over Jefferson.
Yeah, Rager over Jefferson hurts for sure. I wasn't that stupid. Thankfully, I was not that stupid. Say Rager over Jefferson, but there was a big. People got let off the hook for the Rager takes. I'm not going to name any specific creators, but people got let off the hook for the Rager takes. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, anything else on this team? I mean, I think this is just very well positioned to be a little sell off some spare parts and be a house money team year one.
Does the name rhyme with Uwu?
Oh, that's not who I was talking about, actually.
Okay. I thought that's who you were talking about.
No, there's a couple. I'll tell you off camera who I'm talking about. There's a couple of Rager pilled guys for sure. But we can move on to the next team here, which is from
Mythos. I know who we were talking about. Okay, I get it.
Mythos here. This is my first Dynasty League going into the second year, and I made some mistakes in the draft, started tearing it down thanks to you guys and got my picks back. So good proactive thing that you did there. He said, what else can I do to build a good foundation? I was planning on moving Jacobs, Ayuk for additional first if I can.
That would be an awesome start. Jacobs and Ayuk, guess what? If you're tearing it down, they have no need to be on your team.
So the tough thing, Jacobs for sure, he's going to be easy to sell for a contending team because he has an easy projection. Everyone understands what Jacobs is going to give you. Ayuk is a little bit tougher because he's coming off of an injury. So do you want to sell him for, let's say, 80 to 90 cents on the dollar now and get that risk off of your team? Or do you want to wait until week 6 to 10 of the regular season when maybe he's playing better, starts to look like himself, and you can get closer to full value for Ayuk? He's a tough asset to sell because of the injury.
Well, let me ask you right now, if you're able to liquidate, I mean, first and foremost, if you can get a first for Ayuk, you take it right off the bat. But let me ask you an easier or a harder question. Say your best offer 2026 mid to late first, 2027 mid to late first. You give up Josh Jacobs, Cam Scott, and Brandon Ayuk. You doing it?
You get 2 ones?
2026 mid to late first, 2027 mid to late first.
Yeah, I would take that.
I would as well.
Yeah, is that a 90 cents on the dollar sell? Probably. You probably at least want a 2 in there as well. But yeah, I think that's probably about fair value for what you would get for them. And yeah, like your team is going to be picks, man. Like anybody that pops up, me and Danny have both had teams like this. Anybody who has value during the year, throw them into throw-in deals. You got to package Tillman, Marquise Brown, and Tyler Algier together to get one singular 2027 first-round pick. You're doing it. You got to get that point production off of your team and get as many picks as you possibly can because your goal is to own the 2026 and 2027 rookie drafts.
So let me ask you this question. If an opportunity arose and you can get a certain quarterback plus maybe one first and a second, whatever plus you can get for a quarterback on this team, are you doing it? You know what I'm referencing?
Are you referring to like Caleb Williams or something?
Are you able to trade down from Jaden Daniels to Drake May and get 2 firsts of insulation on top?
I mean, if you could do that, I absolutely would. I don't think anybody's going to give you quite that much. Like, let's go to the team with Drake May first of all and see would he even have value to do that.
So the reason why I asked you that is because obviously in no flocking, I did a similar move with Drake May. I traded away Jackson, Darnold, and Hollywood for Bryce Young, Drake May, a first, 2 seconds, and 4/3. If you can make a similar process,
I mean,
like
this guy could do it, given that he's a competitive team. Maybe he would give you Drake May, his one, and his in the next 2 draft classes for Jaden Daniels. Because sorry, here, let me just show the team.
Sorry, I was going to show the reference trade, basically like what you could use maybe as like a blueprint.
Yeah, if this guy offered you Drake May and his one, and in the next 2 draft classes for Jaden Daniels, because he wants to pair Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, obviously that who doesn't want to pair those two together? Yeah, I would do it. I just don't think he would be willing to go all in like that on that trade.
You know how easy it would be for me to get in this guy's DMs and convince him that he's ready to win?
Oh, I mean, yeah, you have Christian McCaffrey, dude. If you don't win the championship, you're wasting Christian McCaffrey. You might as well sell him.
Well, and this goes back to, we're going to make a video on this. We actually talked off camera, just like how we approach like the macro of a startup. And like, this isn't a startup setting, but like, this is one of the principles for me. It's like open communication, having the My Teams feature, being able to see access to this data, to this information, makes it easier for you to picture mentally what approach you will take to somebody when you're coming to a trade offer. Like I use this all the time. And like, again, I have pretty good success when it comes to just open negotiations and being able to like get deals done. I'm not saying, oh, like I win every fucking deal, but like when I want to get a deal done, like I do everything I can to get a deal done, and having access to information like this points me in a direction where mentally I think the other person is going to be wanting to go. So this guy, like if you can convince him, hey, listen, like imagine Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson on top of the team you already have. Who the fuck cares about your future ones? Go win the chip. Like that would be
here's the other thing too. You might even be able to work out something where you give him Jacobs and get Hampton back, because he's like, dude, you got to win. Like Jacobs is going to be way better this year. Najee Harris is going to factor into the backfield in Los Angeles. Like, yeah,
might actually.
What if you give him Ayuk, Jacobs, Jaden Daniels for Drake May, Amari, and Hampton as 2 1s?
If you can fucking do that, rob it to the bank, cash money, you're going to be the next Manziel. Like, you're feeling good, brother.
Yeah, you'd feel real good about that. But yeah, like convince this guy, hey, you're already invested in the 49ers offense. Ayuk, he's already back healthy. He's, in training camp. They're projecting him back for week 1. Yeah. Josh Jacobs, he's going to be better than Amari and Hampton year 1. You're trying to win this championship. I'm giving you Jaden Daniels to upgrade your Drake May. You don't want to wait for him to develop. Like, you could probably convince him. Let me ask you this. Let's say he gives you 1 first. Would you do Drake May, Amari, and Hampton and 1 first for Jaden Daniels, Josh Jacobs, and Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, and I'd sleep like a baby doing it. And you know what you do at that point?
What?
You make it the first date you take is the 2027 one, because by then you're banking on this team potentially deteriorating.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's definitely what I would do. I'd be like, hey, keep your 1 this year. You might need some more pick. Buy more players during the season or whatever. I won't even take your 1 this year. I'll take your 1 in 2027. That's when I'm going to be ready to compete anyways.
If you can somehow get Kraft into this offer for him too, like he would probably be desperate for Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you could potentially get Kraft into the offer as well. Yeah. Try and give him every competitive asset you have for all I care. Give him Marquise Brown too, if he wants the depth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just give him, you need Marquise, go, yeah. Like, you could use some depth at wide receiver. I'll give you Marquise. Just give me your 2 1s, Amari and Hampton and Drake May, and I will give you pretty much whatever you want for my team.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as they're not picks and they're not Tyler Warren, who's the only real rebuilding a building block that you have.
And even Warren, it's like if you could flip him trade up for Loveland and get the 3 years back, that would be a fine move too.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like this is a team that you're just looking, and Williams in the chat right now was thinking about waiting. He's referring to Ayuk basically, seeing how the value rebounds. Yeah, your open during construction is the perfect team name for you there, because that is exactly what's going on. Anybody pops up. Tillman has a couple of good weeks in a row. 2027 2, and he's off my team. Tyler Allgeier's got a 3-week stretch where Bijan has a hamstring pull. 2027 2, and he's off my team. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting those players off, you're punting them into future capital, because the value to you of having as many picks as humanly possible is the value that you can maneuver up and down the board during the rookie draft and potentially find the next Bucky Irving, Tyrone Tracy, anybody that really gains a shit ton of value from where you drafted them.
It is funny because like I'm just seeing like the setup of this, and it really does remind me of like what my new no flocking team looks like in terms of just like how it's constructed. Because like your team, like I got young quarterback here, you have your Jaden Daniels. Obviously, I have like McCarthy and Young here, but Puka Nakua, Igbuka, and then outside of that, like Raheem Mostert, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Lockett, Zach Ertz, Brandon Cooks, Rashid, like urine outside of those like main pillar blocks. You go to my bench, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Samaje Perine, Jamal Williams not on a roster, Gus Edwards not on a roster, Cam Akers not on a roster. You look at this and be like, oh, what the fuck do you have going for you? Well, then when you go down here, it's like, oh, that's what you got. You completely realize, hey, your team won a couple years ago, lost in the semis, is probably a fraud now. You know what you do? You fix it. You fucking fix it.
Yeah, there you go. Got to build out a pick bank like Danny's got there, and you are well on your way to doing it. So I think you're doing a great job so far. Try and get these guys off of your roster. But Jacobs, I wouldn't be in a rush to do it because he is a pretty easy asset to sell, in my opinion. Ayuk is the one that I would maybe be patient with. If all you're getting is early 2 type of offers, I would maybe hold and see if you can get close to first round value because, frankly, Ayuk, when healthy, is one of the best receivers in the league. So Spinam, 15-21, we can move on to here. Heading into year 2 with this league, finished 3rd place last year. Thoughts on potential moves, direction of the team, maybe try and tier up from Garrett Wilson. So we look at Spinam's team here. He is the number 5 team in here. He finished pretty highly, and he adds Judkins to his roster. And this is a pretty well-constructed team. 10 teams start 9 PPR, non-tight end premium. You can see the team there. It's in pretty good shape.
Yep. So we'll take a look in a second. Can I see what the Bijan Al-Gaib team looks like? Because it had like a 40,000 evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, it's partially being carried by the fact that he has like the best young quarterback in Dynasty, the best running back in Dynasty, the best receiver in Dynasty, and the best tight end in Dynasty.
Did he just steal all of Dan's quarterbacks?
Yeah, maybe.
Dan is my son or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, this guy has Jared Goff and Sam Darnold in a super flex league. So yeah, he's doing the quarterback hoarding thing, which is not something we really recommend. But I mean, I guess more power to you if you have all those assets.
If you're going to do it and also still have first round picks and also have literally the number 3 running back core, the number 4 wide receiver core, and the number 1 tight end core, I think like it will work out in that circumstance. But for sure. Let's focus.
What are your thoughts on this team exactly? Because this is a team that I would say convincingly, like, let's go over the redraft projections of these guys. If we were in a super flex draft, Lamar and Dak could be very high picks. Achane, Jacobs, top 2 round picks for me in a redraft setting. Judkins, Montgomery, very good mid-round running backs. BTJ, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, and Deebo Samuel, all top 4, 5, 6 round redraft picks as well. Trey McBride, a top 2-3 turn pick as well. Like, this is a very good redraft production team, and you also have good liquidity.
Sorry, did you clear out all of our overlays?
Not all of them, but I definitely cleared out some.
Damn. Okay, I was literally gonna pull a graphic from the video, and I can't find it now.
Oh yeah, no, I cleared those graphics out.
I mean, regardless though, here, now I want to find it.
Which one are you trying to pull up?
Literally, where is it?
I think I may have edited that video if that's where you're looking for it.
No, I got it. I think. Is it this one? Oh, the wrong one. Sorry, you're not a fraud. I'm trying to. I have them written as like different names on my fucking because I saved it in the folders, right? Fuck. Which was this one? No, maybe this one. Monster. There you go. Moves to make monster. Wait. No, I'm trying to find contender. What the? I wasted a bunch of time to the point where this is a contending team. This is a top 3 to 4 team in your league. The production quality that you have, BTJ, Devon, Achane, Lamar Jackson, like you got Needham moving production. You got Trey McBride at tight end. Like realistically, in a start 9 league, like you have firepower at every single position of your team. On top of that, you have Jacobs for the immediate production. But guess what? Quinshon Judkins is potentially inheriting a role where he can be a 20 touch per game running back for the Cleveland Browns. Sure, Cleveland Browns, not a great offense. Guess what? I trust Kevin Stefanski to orchestrate a good running game. I trust the offensive line to create holes. I trust Judkins, the talent, the athletic profile to be able to be a relatively efficient back on 200 and 250 touches in terms of volume. Sorry. Had to get it all out there.
Are you like in a rush or something? You're talking fast as shit.
No, that it just flustered me because I couldn't find that.
Okay. Anyways, I mean, I don't think the graphic was that important, but
no, I know. I was like, where the fuck did I put it?
Anyways, this team's in really great shape. He did ask us specifically, maybe try and tier up from Garrett Wilson, ? And he said thoughts and potential moves in direction of the team. I mean, if we're looking at potential moves, is there anybody that stands out on his roster, Danny, that you think maybe I'd try and upgrade from that player based on their like redraft projection versus their current market value?
Montgomery.
Yeah, Montgomery is a good one. I think Montgomery is the type of guy to me that a lot of people will look at, 15 points per game last year. Very solid, RB2 type of projection. But I think the loss of Frank Ragnow, the loss of Ben Johnson, that kind of stuff is going to really affect David Montgomery. Plus Jahmyr Gibbs entering year 3, probably a little bit more volume coming his way. Getting off of David Montgomery, maybe you could package in a start 9 too, like David Montgomery plus Garrett Wilson into a better receiver. Maybe you could package David Montgomery plus Deebo Samuel or Cortland Sutton into a little bit more of a stable asset there. Like, I'm going to take a look really quick. Some of the bottom teams, what do we got in terms of competitive assets? I mean, Hampton, he's probably going to want to hold. You could go after, like, could you pivot David Montgomery straight into Jerry Jeudy?
If you can do that, I would absolutely do that, especially given
Pickens or Jeudy or like somebody like that. You could definitely pivot Montgomery potentially into a player who has a little bit more staying power and a little bit better of a projection. I think that would make some sense. Crow J here has DK Metcalf, Saquon. I mean, this guy is Saquon Barkley and McCaffrey, but he's kind of fraudulent. Maybe you could convince this guy. It's sometimes hard to do this. Maybe you could convince this guy that he might need to tear it down, and you could go after McCaffrey potentially as well.
Yeah, I think that would make sense.
I mean, Montgomery probably not a good piece to do that, but just in general, you could maybe convince him to go after McCaffrey.
So if you can get a cheap McCaffrey, I'm all for it. I've talked to you about this. Realistically, again, I know this is a hot take given their current market values, but tell me why Saquon Barkley is ranked so much higher than Christian McCaffrey in Dynasty.
Tell me why. Sorry. He said tell me why, and I got stuck in my Backstreet Boys era there. I would say Saquon Barkley should be valued over McCaffrey in Dynasty by
a second max.
I would say it should be a first for a second swap, give or take.
Yeah, I would take the McCaffrey side every time because I can make the case if both stay healthy that McCaffrey has a higher point per game ceiling given the receiving role.
Yeah.
Saquon's got the insulation to the offense. He's a safer asset because obviously McCaffrey's coming off the tendonitis. But like, if you told me both stayed healthy this year, like I would actually probably bet money that McCaffrey outscores him.
Well, here's a absolutely true statistic about Christian McCaffrey that'll blow a lot of people's minds. Do you know Christian McCaffrey's lowest finish in points per game?
Since when?
Second season, not his rookie season. Second season and beyond when he stayed healthy.
So,
what is his lowest finish in points per game?
Because I know in his second season, I believe he was the RB 11 or 12 in points per game, if I'm not mistaken. So after that, that would have been when he started getting the carry workload. Because in year 1, I believe he only had about 130 carries or something like that. 120 carries, might even been less. I want to say his lowest point per game finish is RB3.
It's RB2.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he was hurt in 2020, but he did have 30.1 PPR points per game in the 3 games that he played that year.
I wasn't sure if 2020, because I know Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara both had like 20.
And Henry, too, had a big season that year. 2021, only played 7 games, 18.2 PPR points per game. I mean, that's still very good, but he didn't play enough games to qualify. But yeah, 2023, RB1 in points per game, 24.5 legendary season. RB2 in points per game in 2022. 21.0 points per game. That was the year in which he got traded to the 49ers halfway through the season. And then 2019, we all know what happened. He was the best running back other than LaDainian Tomlinson's 2006 season. It's the best season of all time. And then 2018, he was also a legendary scorer, 24.1. Christian McCaffrey stays healthy. He's an absolute dude.
So Spicy, I actually have to cut at about like, I could probably stretch this to 1 the latest. I'm going to my brother's house and we're actually going to the Hamilton Forge game today. It's his birthday. It's his 30th birthday. So we're going to go out there, spend some time together, get some dinner afterwards. So yeah, brother's birthday, gonna be heading out probably about, 1 the latest. If we can get done by like 12:50, that'd probably be better, but like 1 the latest.
Yeah. To answer your question, Spicy, I would say looking at the Greyhound is the contest he's referring to. It's only about 30% filled. So I think we'll be fine to just let that ride until our next best ball stream later in the week.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so Spicy, you can DM us in the group chat. Like what day works best for you this week for us to potentially get a stream going?
Yeah, I think we mentioned Thursday potentially last week, but we can DM you in the chat, and I'm also going to be sending you a pick'em for tonight's NBA Finals game 2 is tonight, right? Yeah. I'll probably be sending you an NBA Finals game 2 pick as well tonight because I want to get those going.
Quickly speaking about finals, can we talk about the fact that the first 2 games of the Stanley Cup Finals have equated to 3 games of on ice time?
Oh, dude, they've been insanely good games too.
Like it is so like these are 2 of the best teams that I've seen probably in the last 5 years. Like
the way
genuinely
they play
speaking.
against each other too
It's
is
insane.
so like this is a very sound fundamental defensive team that has, good defending forwards and stuff like the Florida Panthers do. And then this is just like so unbelievably skilled in the Edmonton Oilers.
And I think that's also like why I've built respect for Edmonton is like they've proven to me this playoff run that they can play in those physical games.
They're the Leafs with a backbone is what they are.
Yeah. Like, and on top of that, I mean, like just the pure creation, mental ability, physical ability, feel for the game that McDavid has.
That pass was insane. That pass was insane that he had to Draisaitl for that goal. That was insane.
When he's anywhere between the face-off circles, like you are scared that puck's ending up in the back of your net any way possible. Yeah. Like, you don't know how it is, but it's somehow going to.
Yeah. One last thing let's talk about with this team here. This guy has a ton of great wide receiver assets. Would you inquire how much on top of Garrett Wilson or something does it get you to St. Brown or Puka Nacua or McConkey or somebody like that?
Yeah, I'd be comfortable doing that.
Like let's come up with a trade package here. I think you can maybe, because this guy needs running back too. Maybe get there with Montgomery plus Garrett Wilson gets you to McConkey potentially. You're not getting St. Brown and Nacua for that, but I think you could maybe get to McConkey for that.
I'd be willing to throw in a 2 on that too, to be honest.
Yeah. And I'd be willing to throw in the 2 on that to get even potentially higher. Like if you can get to St. Brown for that, I would absolutely do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're in pretty good shape. We already said it. You're a top 3 to 4 team. Let's move on to Roofy. Hopefully that's just a name here. Roofy 0,000. I don't even know how to pronounce this. 1,000. 0,000. Need strategy. Lost in the chip to it. So the first place guy. Raiolo thinks he's competing. Send running back, wide receiver 209, 26 first for 103, 203. Okay, hold on. Let's look at the team first, and then we'll go up to the rest of these questions here. So bouncing TDs, shout out. Start 9 PPR, half tight end premium. He said he lost in a chip last year. I mean, this is a really, really well-constructed team. You look at this roster, you got competitive running backs, but the rest of your team is really young to the point that if, let's say, you weren't like having a great season, you could punt off Henry and Taylor and whatnot and quickly reposition this thing into a future contender. So I like the flexibility that you got. There we go. Those are O's. Okay. I didn't know any. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Don't listen to me.
Wait, what did you say? Roofy 000?
I just don't worry about me. I'm just dumb as shit when it comes to names. Anyways, this team is in really good shape. He's asking about a trade where he would send running back / wide receiver 209, 26 first. Okay. Do you have your 26 first? You do not have your 26 first. You have the 209. Oh, your 26 first. Sorry. You do have your 26 first. You already haven't had the rookie draft yet.
Interesting.
So 209, 26 first. And then he's saying like running back / wide receiver. So what running back or wide receiver would we add into this deal to get the 103, 203 and a 26 first back?
Excuse me? That's available to you?
Hold on.
Raiolo thinks he's competing, so go to Raiolo.
Oh, okay. So you're suggesting you swap first with him.
Absolutely. Oh, he thinks he's competing. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I mean, if that's available to you, and I guess what running back / wide receiver?
Garrett Wilson.
Well, I mean, you're inherently going to make his first better. So ideally, you kind of want to give him somebody that you don't really believe in this year.
Yeah, fair. Well, like what caliber of running back receiver I would kind of like need to know.
Give him Derrick Henry.
Like, I mean, fuck.
Give him Derrick Henry. He thinks he's competing. Give him Derrick Henry.
Get Derrick Henry. Give him fucking whatever else you want.
You're gonna get Hampton back at 103.
Yeah, exactly. Or Hunter
at worst.
At best.
Yeah. Like you get Hampton or Hunter back. Give him Derrick Henry.
Dude, I'd be willing to throw fucking Jonathan Taylor if I had to in this deal.
Yeah, like he's running back / wide. Like, would you? Okay, I think it'd be too much to give him Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor and Garrett Wilson 209,
Agreed.
26 first. I think it'd be slightly too much. I don't think it'd be like a shit ton too much, but I think it'd be slightly too much. If he wants a receiver too, like, I mean, give him Henry and McMillan, I guess. You don't really have anybody other than your good receivers to give up. That's the only problem. Like, you don't have like a 40s wide receiver.
Maybe Henry plus Wilson, and then you can convince him that you only have to throw a second instead of a first on this deal. Like, go back up to the top.
Yeah. If you give him Henry and Wilson plus a 209
and 26 second.
Yeah, 26 second and 209. Yeah, maybe that gets it done if you're giving him both Henry and Garrett Wilson in that deal, and he'll give you 103, 203 in the 26 first.
I sent messages on the team review page with a lot more info. I think he's hesitant on Henry because of the age. He might go for JT or Brown easier. Okay, if that's the case, then maybe JT plus a cheaper wide receiver versus the Derrick Henry and Garrett Wilson suggestion.
Yeah, I'm reading through. He sent me a book here, so I'm looking through this here. Okay. With a trade idea. Okay, so the 101 has gotten the last 2 years in a row, but they still think their team is having a chance. I'm trying to convince him to trade me the 101 for Genty, and I can give him multiple young wide receiver assets and or a quarterback and future picks, but he still wants to keep Genty. And he said for the Lamar trade idea, I was also thinking of trying to get 102, but I'm not sure if I would be trading away too much to still be competing. Yeah, I don't think I'd be willing to give up Lamar on your team your position.
Yeah.
Okay. Or no, sorry, you're going after Lamar.
Let me see the trade.
There's just so much information here, Anthony. I just I might need you to summarize it in the chat. What is the most pressing stuff here? Because there's a lot of stuff that you give me here.
So go back up to the top. So what does he say?
Try to get Nico, trade QB / wide receiver plus for Lamar / Tyreek or Allen / Bucky. Okay. So let's come up with some trade ideas for some of this stuff.
I think first and foremost, equating the value is going to be number one thing, because we don't really have context here in terms of, like you said, this guy thinks he's competing. Does that mean he's like a sand eater league mate and he is so focused on production that he doesn't care as much about the long term? Because in that type of situation, like, he is going to be very, very valuing a guy like Derrick Henry. So like it's tough.
This guy thinks he's competing, apparently, this Lamar team.
Yeah, he's faded. This team's urine. Is it this one? I thought it was Riolo. Oh, Lamar team, right? There was two of them.
Yeah, he said.
So basically, what I'm getting here is nobody who actually wants to tank in this league.
I guess, yeah. Anyways, looking at his trade proposals, he says try and get Nico. Let's come up with a Nico trade proposal. We'll just go through it. He lists all of them. Let's try and come up with proposals for all of these players that he's asking about. So Raiola, let's come up with a Nico trade proposal. This guy thinks he's competing. I would offer him
Derrick
Henry and Garrett Wilson for Nico and maybe something small back.
Like 203.
Yeah, 203 and Nico for Garrett Wilson and Derrick Henry. That's probably
like, if this is more of a redraft centric league, I can see this guy taking that.
Yeah. He said Lamar team is not competing. Okay, good. Ooh. That guy doesn't think he's competing.
I mean, maybe what you can try is, can you throw Jonathan Taylor on that and get him to throw in the 103? Because that would also make sense.
Yeah, if you give him Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry and Garrett Wilson, you're saying?
And Garrett Wilson for Nico in the 103.
Yeah, that would definitely make some sense. And then the Lamar trade, he said Lamar and Tyreek Hill is basically what he'd be going after. So this guy wants young players. Lamar and Tyreek Hill is what he'd be getting. He wants young players in return. Maybe you could give him JSN, Marvin Harrison, and
a quarterback, Kyler.
Would you do JSN, Marvin Harrison, a 26-1 for Lamar and Tyreek? Or is that too much?
I was going to say, no, it's definitely not too much. I would say, like, he might want Kyler on that.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, he said the 101 said he would like 3 future firsts for a rebuild. So I'm assuming he's only going to want young players.
So 101, like which team was that again? The Lamar team?
No, sorry, that was not the one. Sorry, there's a million questions going on here.
I'm really, I
know there's a lot of questions going on. I would say offering this guy Marvin Harrison, JSN as the start, we can go over that.
Skip Moose. Did we skip Moose?
Don't think so. If it was a trade question, we've answered all the trade questions so far, and I can refresh really quick on this.
I can look on the other side. Just focus on yours.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's Lamar stuff again. I would use your receivers for sure. And then you said quarterback plus receiver. Yeah. If you could give him Kyler and Marvin Harrison stack and get anywhere close to Lamar using the Kyler Marvin stack, I would definitely try that.
So Moose, your question was the Bijan for 101, 102, 105. Very comfortably, we would take the 3 picks.
Yeah, we're taking the picks there. Yeah, that was an insanely good deal for you selling Bijan for that.
Yeah, if Lamar guy would want a quarterback back, I
give
think
him the Marvin and Kyler stack for Lamar.
Yeah. If he wants youth, I think that would be like the perfect appeal for him.
Yeah, give him that, and maybe he'll throw you Tyreek Hill too. If you got Lamar and Tyreek for the Marvin Kyler stack, I would feel really good about that. So that would be the direction I would go in that trade. He also has this Allen and Bucky team potentially. for like quarterback wide receiver type of move for this. If this guy would accept young or older aging running backs, could you give him Kyler, Marvin Harrison, and Jonathan Taylor for Josh Allen and Bucky Irving?
Kyler, Marvin, and JT for Allen and Irving. You may as well try.
Like if he'll take the Marvin and Kyler stack and Jonathan Taylor, maybe he views that as an upgrade at running back potentially, and he's getting a wide receiver in Harrison to help balance out the fact that he's losing Allen. I think that would definitely make some sense.
That's another thing too. If you can talk him into Herbert, obviously we don't expect the production to be as good as Kyler's this year, and then you keep the production of Kyler, who we have ranked as a top 10 quarterback this year. I think that would be more beneficial for you. I mentioned this, but Moose, we covered your team at, so it says 3:54 on the site, which I would equate to 11:54 a.m. So it would be roughly about 40 minutes ago we answered your question, Moose.
Yeah, the site was bugging at first though, so it might be about 5 minutes delayed from that.
Yeah. Because I do see MoosetheGoose. The prompt said, "Hey, thank you for being a member. I answered your question on the show." Like it already it linked to him.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, Moose, your trade was such a fleece that we did not spend very much time on it because Genty and Bijan are relatively in the same tier. So getting what was it, the 102 and the 105 or whatever on top of Genty at 101, excellent move. Yeah. So if
any
you want
combo
the analysis again, it was really straightforward.
Any combo of those two picks, we would much rather have your side. The fact that you're getting all three of them, smash move.
Yeah. Okay. Let's rattle through these last couple questions from Anthony here. Trade JSN for 107 and a 26/26 first. I would, if it's both, yes. But if it's just one of those assets, no.
I'm assuming it's both. If he said
it says /26 first,
because he said Lamar /Tyreek, so we understood that as both. And just like in the first deal, send running back, wide receiver, 209, 26 first for 103, 203, and 26 first. I'm assuming it would be both. If it's
both, that's great. If it's just one, I would want more for JSN. Trade for CMC. Who has McCaffrey?
Yeah, we just talked about the CMC deal.
Did we?
We just mentioned that. Yeah, we just talked about we could potentially get CMC off this guy because he wants young assets. I believe, no?
No, that was the last team.
Oh, got you. Okay. We've spent so long on this one. I forgot which one.
I'm trying to find the McCaffrey team here. Is it this first place guy?
Yeah. No? Regardless, it's almost 12:40, so we'll try to.
Okay, the CMC trade. If you wanted to go after CMC because you do have a competitive team, obviously, I would give up Wilson for CMC plus like Pickens back.
If you can get some match.
Yeah, like if you could do something like that, or JSN even too. JSN for Christian McCaffrey and Pickens, I would do that given your team situation.
I would for sure as well. I guess when I had the epiphany that I'm like, oh shit, like Christian McCaffrey should very easily be at least a mid-first round redraft pick right now. Like I mentioned it to you and you're like, wait, Danny, when did you become the Unk? I'm like, well, everything we're hearing from the 49ers camp is that he's healthy. And a healthy CMC, we have seen evident proof can break fantasy football. The fact that he was going in the second round,
running back Unk.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give it credit. At first, I was a little wary, but I mean, like, there's no reason, and even in a PPR setting, given how many passes he's going to catch, to have I have him in the tier 6 now. I have him at number 7 overall.
Yep. And then trading this guy for the 2025 101 is the last question that we're going to cover on this team because we've been going for a while here. Use your receivers. Marvin Harrison plus, JSN plus. That's what I would be using to try and get Genty from. If he wants more than that, I wouldn't go too much higher. Like I would not personally give it. I mean, maybe Drake London plus too. That would be about it. I wouldn't, mess around giving him up neighbors or something like that. But we can move on to the next team. And then I believe AJ said he submitted one as well. So we'll refresh there.
Unfortunately, now I'm rocking a fresh goatee and I'm pounding the table on running backs in the mid-first. We are so back.
It's so unky. So unky. Okay, TurdFerguson, shout out. Maybe he's Jake Ferguson's spirit animal because he stinks at football. So
it could very well be
rookie draft next week, and I have a trade offer on the table to trade my 106 for the other guy's 109, 111 in a future second or third, not yet determined. What are your thoughts on that trade first before we get into anything? Just in a vacuum before we see his game.
It seems like a lot on surface level, but keep in mind, it's a one quarterback start 8 half PPR. So we have to remember that.
In a one quarterback, you're looking at Judkins or Igbuka, most likely.
Yeah. And
would you rather have Judkins or Igbuka, or would you rather have Golden, one of the tight ends, in a future second?
I think even in a shallow format, like you're just giving yourself more margin for error with those other guys. Like I don't feel confident enough on the Judkins over that overall set of assets to take it. Like it would be a different discussion if it was like the 104, like, and it's like,
yeah, if you're getting McMillan instead
Yeah.
of those guys, I think that would be a bit of a different discussion. But yeah, he said, I took over this team last year as an orphan, tore it down, and I'm building it back up currently. And here's the other thing too. When you're in an orphan situation, you want volume of picks anyways. So that's why it kind of makes more sense to have volume of picks.
Well, at that point, it's like, well, you don't even need to pigeonhole yourself as a running back. It's like, realistically, at that point, would you rather have an Igbuka or a Judkins, or rather just take the Flyers on rebuilding value on this team? And to me, given the state of this team, I think you have to keep rebuilding it.
Yeah. So, sorry, we may have mixed up who's got. He has the 106. So trading down makes sense. Sorry.
That's what I said.
I was answering the question as if you were trading up for 106. But yeah, if you're trading down from 106 to collect 109, 111, and if you can squeeze a future second, not a future third out of him, that would be ideal. And if you have to punt that to 2027, that's fine as well to get that future second instead of the third. That's great. But that's probably what you should be doing, because as much as Igbuka or Judkins are really going to help your team, getting Golden, one of the tight ends, and a future second gives you more bites at the apple to hit and, really swing big on a big asset that accumulates a ton of value.
For sure. Also, if it basically is just JSN plus your own 26 first, I'd be more than willing to do that for Genty. Absolutely.
Yes.
In terms of the last team. On top of that, so Jace, if anybody's watching right now, like Jace will be the final team we go over today, because I literally have to be out of my house in the next.
We have AJ's team still too. So I mean, I might be covering Jace's team solo. That's totally fine though.
Okay. But regardless, that'll happen when we get into a 20-minute diatribe about CeeDee Lamb versus.
Okay, let's stay on topic here and we'll be fine.
Okay. I mean, this team's rebuilding. You need volume of assets. You got a deal that can get you volume of assets. I'm perfectly fine with making that move.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be afraid, even though volume of assets is good, we also want volume of good assets. And 209, 212, 301, if on the board, somebody's sliding during the rookie draft to like 203, 204, 205, and you can just go and trade up and you're like, dude, RJ Harvey shouldn't be on the board right now, or Caleb Johnson shouldn't be on the board right now, or whatever, you could always trade up and make moves that way. It is a one quarterback league. So, 209, 212, and 301 are inconsequential assets. So if you do want to package up some of those picks to get a better bite at the apple, that would make some sense. But at 101, 109, after you make that trade, and 111 in a future second, you're going to have a couple of really good options on the board for you there. 112, 201. Again, maneuver the board if you can, trade down if you can, collect future assets, try and punt into 2027. Like if you're on the board at 112 and somebody offers you their 2027 first because they're like, I have to have Jaden Higgins or whatever, then go nuts. Yeah, let them give you their 2027 first. That's the position your team is in right now, given that you're taking over an orphan, you don't have a crap ton of really good assets.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that should be the final team. And then I'll just refresh here and we'll get to the last couple that we had. Is this going to let me refresh? Of course it's not. So I need to actually refresh my page normally. No, that's not the right link.
RB Unk.
Yeah, RB Unk is right. Okay, we got a couple more questions here. When this links back to you guys, hopefully you're still in the chat. AJ, Arthur, I mean, you guys are all OGs, so I'm pretty sure you guys know how to access these.
Oh, right. He said this isn't a league neither of us are in.
Yeah, he said we've never even seen this league.
Really? Okay, so this is definitely new because story time, I'm actually in a league with some of these guys. So like Sean, Los Osos, I believe Slack joined the league, Tua Brain, Kobe, so me and Fled actually share a team in the Alcoholics Anonymous League with a bunch of these guys.
Yeah, there you go. I typed in the chat to you, Danny. I'm like, guy who has to go says story time.
I just said 2 seconds.
I just thought it was funny. Yeah. Okay. To Infinity and Bijan, which is always AJ's team name every single time.
Every league he's in.
He doesn't have Kyle Pitts for the first time in his life as well. But he does have Drake London and Bijan. So that's pretty on brand for him. One quarterback, 12 teams start, 8 half PPR. This is kind of a borderline monster. I mean, I would consider this a monster. In a start 8, you're starting Allen, Bijan, McCaffrey in the short term, Henderson in the long term, Lamb, Nakua, London, Godwin as a flex option as well, and then Hawkinson in the short term, Warren in the long term. So, I mean, this team's in really, really good shape. There's probably a reason you haven't asked us about this team yet, because it's in impeccable shape. What do you do with this team? What is the advice that we have right now?
Go win the chip.
Yeah. Is there anyone, I guess here's the thing that we could say here. Is there anyone that sticks out as maybe use them to tier up because we're not sold on their value or something like that?
Like, there's no need for like Higgins and Pearsall on this team. Just go consolidate and win.
Pearsall would. Can you take Pearsall plus Hawkinson and get a better tight end?
Tony Pollard, fucking James Cook.
Can you take Pearsall, Pollard, and Hawkinson and go get McBride?
Trim off the noise and go consolidate your hammers.
Yeah, I mean, in a start 8 half PPR, 1 quarterback too. Like, unless your name is Bijan or Henderson or McCaffrey or Lamb or Nakua or London, you ain't worth shit anyways. Like, I love me some Chris Godwin, but he's like on the fringe of being worth some shit. Also,
by the way, the team that I mentioned to you that started Genty and Thomas got a falling 4-pick Devontae Adams, so pretty unique. Anyways,
there you go. Yeah, this is in really good shape. This team's in really great shape. Do you have he doesn't even have really any questions here because why would you? Consolidate more. You already have really good assets. Go consolidate more. The position that I would start, this is brag team action at its best. Yeah. The thing that I would do is consolidate a tight end. Go get Bowers. Go get McBride by any means necessary. Yeah. That's what I would do. If it costs you both Hawkinson and Warren, I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, literally, like don't even worry about losing 15% value on a trade in this league. This is what we would classify. I can actually pull this up now. Hopefully I clicked the right one. Is that right? Yeah, strategy points. You are Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones. No pressure to overpay 110% value. We are shopping in Louis Vuitton, not Target. All right, AJ? Don't be shopping in Target. Go to Louis Vuitton. Treat yourself.
Oh, God, that voice makes me die every time I hear it.
I had to. We're shopping in Louis Vuitton, not Target.
I just clench up when I hear that voice.
Did I say treat yourself to the fucking waiter?
Yeah, that's literally treat yourself energy right there. But anyways, consolidate at running back too. I mean, Henderson is great. Why even take the risk that he doesn't hit? Take Henderson plus James Cook and Calvin Ridley and go get Devon Achane. Like,
yeah, fuck it. May as well.
Why not? Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself, indeed.
So, you're set. We'll go to Arthur's trade question. AJ Brown plus Brock Bowers for Nico Collins and Trey McBride.
Should we have a long diatribe about waffles versus pancakes while we're talking about Arthur's team? Just kidding.
Like, this is an interesting offer because, like, technically speaking, if you're talking about the overall point production this year, I think I would make the case that Nico Collins plus Trey McBride outscores Bowers plus Brown. But the fact that Bowers has the opportunity to be like an untouchable asset, I would still take him.
Yeah, this is pretty close.
It's a good offer.
Yeah, this is a really good offer. Somebody might look at this and be like, why even make this trade? This is such a lateral trade. You're getting a slightly better, like, which one's more likely? AJ outscores Collins or McBride outscores Bowers? To me, the more likely is that AJ outscores Collins.
Oh, I think it's McBride outscores Bowers.
Okay, so this is why this trade's so even, is because you and I even disagree on that part.
Yeah, but regardless, even though I think the aspect that Bowers is the 21, 22-year-old ascending asset and has the opportunity to literally be like a Kelsey-like dynasty asset, like, to me, that's just like a tier difference. Even though AJ Brown's a tier under the McBride Collins range, Bowers is a clear top 10 asset for me. So then at that point, it's like, it is no tight end premium. So maybe you think a little bit more on the
Collins. He said he loves Nico too.
Side,
so I mean,
so do I.
Dude, you got to pry Brock out of my cold dead hands though. You know what I mean? Like, can you do AJ Brown plus for Nico straight up? Like, can you get the tight ends out of this trade altogether? Because if you love Nico and you're like, I want Nico so bad, I'll trade AJ Brown plus for him, even if it's just a little bit of an overpay. Just leave Brock out of it. Brock didn't do anything wrong. Leave him on your team.
Brock is innocent.
Brock is innocent. Keep him on your team. You have to pry this guy from my cold dead hands. Like, to be honest.
How could BDG comments hate this guy?
Yeah. So I would stick with AJ Brown and Brock Bowers just because Bowers is just simply that dude. And speaking of Bowers, he's in this trade as well.
Hey, Gingerale, you got some competition now, brother.
Ginger baby. Maybe it's Gingerale's younger brother or something. Won the league last year. What moves should I make? Okay, I mean, we'll answer this trade question, but it is a trade question here. So,
what's underneath the Myers? Like, is there?
Sorry. There's Pat Fryermuth is underneath there. I didn't actually see that.
Bowers.
Okay. Yeah. So Bowers in 208 for the 108, which presumably you're probably getting like one of the tight ends in this year's class, I guess. Early to mid first, 308, Jacoby Myers. Yeah, give me Bowers here.
Yeah, like
hypothetically, the only way this works out for the other guy, if you were to do this trade, is if Warren or Loveland became the tight end 2 uncontested in Dynasty or something. And then it's, oh yeah, I got a free early to mid first for a tier down from Bowers or something.
Got you, Arthur, by the way. And also the cringe voice. I mean, anytime we shopping in Louis Vuitton, we got to get
Never again. Shut it down. Okay, Jaceplant. Last team that we got for the time being. I don't think anybody else has submitted anything. If you do have any submissions under the buzzer, it'll probably just be me covering it. Keep in mind, because Danny's probably going after this one. But Jaceplant says, hey guys, I think this is my 3rd submission of this orphan I took over 3 years ago. Made a trade for CeeDee Lamb / Taylor. Danny's going to be loving some CeeDee Lamb trades. And 105 for Rashee Rice / 102, 104. And a late 2nd round. That's what you end. Oh, okay. CeeDee Lamb, Taylor, and 105 for Rashee Rice, 102 and 104, I think is what the trade ended up being. But anyways, what advice do we have for this team? Also tried upgrading at quarterback, but no one is looking to go off of a top quarterback. So
real quick, let's look at that deal. Okay, so let's equate it out. So CeeDee Lamb, or go to the top. So he got CeeDee Lamb, Taylor, and 105 for Rashee Rice, presumably 102 Travis Hunter / Amari Hampton, presumably 104 Ted McMillan. In a start 9 league, I'm perfectly comfortable. One quarterback, 10 team. Oh, it's a 1 quarterback as well, which again really doesn't matter with the 102, 104. But in terms of the second, maybe that'll add into it. I'm perfectly fine making this move, pairing up Malik Neighbors with CeeDee Lamb, and you also have Drake London. Sign me up.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty decent price to pay. I mean, it's hefty for sure. Like giving up Rice, Hunter, and probably McMillan.
104 versus 105 doesn't. Yeah, really
McMillan versus. I mean, 105. I guess. Did he trade that? Oh, he hasn't spent it yet. Okay, so he's probably going to be getting Henderson, presumably at 105.
Yeah, which again, you add Henderson to this team. We're both high on. In term, I know Jace is also high. I know Arthur's also high in the chat on both those quarterbacks at the top with Jared Goff as the 3. I think that's a very well structured quarterback.
It's a 1 quarterback league too, so you'd be fine with Drake May and Jared Goff. To be honest, you don't even need Caleb Williams.
Forgot about that context. My mistake. But regardless, at that point, it's like maybe my question for you, Corey, in a 1 quarterback start 9, are you trying to see if that 110 plus whatever can get you up into the range to get a Loveland or a Warren?
Yeah. So my initial thought actually was, does 110 plus Jonathan Taylor get me a better running back?
I would work
because Henderson's going to be added to your team, Walker and Taylor, that's fine. But if you could go 110 plus Taylor to get Achane, or even, God forbid, you get to Gibbs or something with Jonathan Taylor, 110 and 203. Like, I'd be willing to do that as well. But yeah, you probably do need to address the tight end position.
We may need to be hesitant on putting the 105 in any trade offer if Travis Hunter somehow getting to you there. Okay, so
and if Hunter does fall to you, I would probably try and pivot some of your wide receiver assets, namely Odunze and Waddle, because Ayuk is hurt right now. You probably won't get peak value for him for a running back.
Take 2 of them and treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because like if you walk out of here with Neighbors, Lamb, London, and Hunter as your top 4 receivers, you don't need Odunze. You don't need Jalen Waddle. You can hold Ayuk because he's hurt right now, but those guys you could definitely, would Odunze plus the 110 get you near Devon Achane, or would it get you near even would you take Breece Hall for Odunze in the 110? Maybe Breece Hall plus a small piece back.
Repeat that. Sorry.
Breece, after you take Hunter, presumably at 105, would you rather have Breece Hall and maybe something small back for Odunze in the 110?
Breece Hall and something small back for Odunze in the 110. Well, it depends what that thing back is.
Is it like maybe it's a mid to late projected second in 2026?
Yeah, I'm cool to make that move. Again,
maybe you go up to Bucky. Maybe you go up to Achane. Maybe you go up to somebody like that.
Like maybe instead of the second, you can get like a cheap producer. Like, can you get a running back? Can we go to where Breece Hall is? Maybe there's a cheap running back on that team that he would be willing to get rid of.
Breece Hall, Brian Robinson, perfect.
Yeah, you want to get like a B-Rob, even like a Pacheco would be like okay in this circumstance. Like, yeah, I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, that would make some sense. Let me take a look at the Achane team and shit too, because I'm curious who has him. Chase Brown would also be interesting. Can you sell the 110 straight for Chase Brown? Like, this guy is tight end too. Like, maybe you could convince this guy, hey, you're really not ready to compete right now. I will give you Romo Dunze 110 and 203 if you give me Chase Brown and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Like, you could use a tight end, obviously, right? So going after a tight end on the open market would make some sense. But to your point that you initially brought up, Yeah, at 108, 107, 109 or whatever, whenever the first tight end goes off the board, and ideally because you're competitive, I'd actually prefer Warren.
Yeah.
I would probably try and slide up if you can from 110 to get Warren. But if Warren just slides to you at 110, obviously you're in good shape there because it is non-tight end premium too. So you probably have a chance of getting Warren at 110, but it is one quarterback.
Also, let's go Arthur. Broncos Cowboys. That's gonna be fire.
That's clean. That's clean.
That's
but
fair.
Yeah, this team's in really good shape. The only thing that really stands out to me is getting better running back assets than Jonathan Taylor and Kenneth Walker. Because I think they're fine, especially when the rest of your team's in this shape. It's just, would I rather have better long-term liquidity and also probably better point production if you upgraded JT and Walker into Devon Achane and Bucky Irving with a couple of moves here and there, that would feel better to me.
Also, Lennox, sad that you came just right now because I'm literally about to wrap it up in the next 2 minutes because I'm going to meet my brother at 1:30.
Tough.
Unlucky timing, but I appreciate you for tuning in. Because I sent what's it called? I sent him the link, I believe, in the chat that we're in. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then outside of that, yeah, just the running back upgrade is all I'm looking for. Tight end upgrade, whether it's in the draft or via the trade market, that's pretty much what I'd be looking to do. And I do think we had one more question come in under the gun. I think it's just a trade question, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, you're chilling. Yeah, quick trade question. I have 2 minutes. So
I thought I just saw one come in. Maybe I'm baked. Hold on.
Let me check.
Ginger baby. Maybe this is the question from before. Okay, I think I'm just getting notice from before. Notice from before.
Yeah, I see no pending found on my review section.
Okay, so yeah, we're fine. Anyways, yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. We covered a lot of dynasty questions, a lot of trade questions. We had a diatribe of players that are ranked back to back as we usually do. Hopefully you enjoyed everything. Hopefully you enjoyed Danny's Cowboys homerism as usual. My love for Unk running backs as usual.
That comment also made no sense because he literally had a year out producing Chase, but I'm a homer.
It is funny, Danny, that you refuse to acknowledge that you have Cowboys homerism.
It's not even Cowboys homerism though. If Jefferson had the exact same profile that Lamb did, I would also be saying the same thing about Jefferson.
It's just funny. It's just funny that you don't admit that you're biased. It's funny to me.
I'm biased, but I don't think the bias actually plays into the effect of why I like CeeDee Lamb.
I have Lamb ranked way above market right now, and you pretend that I hate him. So it does factor in.
I just think the market's wrong.
I think the market's wrong too, which is why I'm way above market. But you treat me like I'm, call it a terrible receiver.
Mid first round startup pick, and let's fire it up. But hey, I won't complain if people want to let him slide to the 112 in the startup I just did.
That's where he goes. Speaking of startups, by the way, I said this at the very, very beginning of the stream, but if you guys do want to join a startup with the two of us for Devy, not Dynasty, Devy, we are starting a new Devy startup on June 15th, which is a Sunday, a week from now. We are going to draw names for our new listener Devy League. It will be a little bit higher stakes, just to keep that in mind, and it will be 2 years up front. But if you guys do want to join, you can get 1 ballot if you're a free entrant. So you don't even have to be a site subscriber to potentially get in the league. 2 ballots if you're a monthly Mother Flocker subscriber using promo code FSE only. If you used Flock, Domain, or Land, you're treated as a free entrant. 4 or 3 ballots, I think, if you are an annual Flocker. 5 ballots if you're an annual Mother Flocker. And of course, you guys saw us break down a bunch of team reviews today. If you do want to get a team review broken down, the cheapest and most cost-effective way to do so is to be an annual Mother Flocker using code FSE, because you get a free team review voucher when you sign up with that promo code. And like I said, you'll have a chance to be in the listener league with us if you guys are interested. Basically what we're doing, regular Dynasty startup, but it's also 6 players in Devy. So guys that are currently in college, they could be 2026 eligible, 2027 eligible, real sicko 2028 eligible type of players that are true freshmen. Jared in the chat right now, he said the league will be lit, fam. He has offered to commission the league. So he got in for, nothing. I mean, he's an annual Mother Flocker, so he would have had a good chance to get in the league anyways, but he is going to be working the commish thing because you and I commissioned so many leagues that we wanted to farm that out. But yeah, if you guys want to join that league, the link is in the chat. The link is in the description. The link is also in the pinned comment of the How to Commission a Dynasty League video. Make sure to check that out as well. Throughout the week, I'll give you guys an update of what we got going on. We're going to tackle Dynasty Startup Strategy on Tuesday. Danny's going to come over tomorrow. We're going to record 2 videos, Dynasty Startup Strategy and Dynasty Trade Strategy. That'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. And then either Thursday or Friday, we're not exactly sure. We'll probably pivot it one of those 2 days. we'll cover guys that we've been drafting like crazy because we've been doing a bunch of underdog fantasy slow drafts. So that'll be a redraft video, obviously not a dynasty video. And then we'll also cover probably Saturday of next weekend, the guys that we're not drafting, the guys that we're not clicking the button on. So some kind of early values by round, early busts by round from a redraft perspective. So that's what we got on tap for this week. And yeah, if you guys want to join the league, check it out. Like this stream if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Check out Flock for the My Teams feature, the trade calculator, all of our rankings, draft guides, all that good stuff. But with that being said, peace out, and we'll talk to you soon.